Hey everybody, you're watching We the Fandom, where we discuss comic books, pop culture, and the fandom experience. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to see more content. How's it going everybody? Jacob here at We the Fandom reviewing the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 5. I am going to talk about that big surprise cameo, well maybe not so surprising, but the big cameo, the post-credit scene, which I believe is the first one of the series, as well as some of the woke stuff that we've come to expect from this series. But we're going to start from the beginning. So the episode starts off with John Walker running away from the scene of the crime after having just killed that flag smasher in front of the public in that last episode. This he did because Karli killed his best friend slash partner Lamar, and basically in wanting to get revenge, he chased after a different flag smasher and killed him. But in running away, he ends up in a warehouse where he starts to kind of break down over what happened. And as he is pulling himself together, Bucky and Sam show up. And it's pretty obvious what they came for. Sam says, "You gotta give me that shield, man." And basically the fight starts right after that. And it's a pretty badass fight. It's kind of reminiscent of the fight between Steve, Bucky, and Tony in Civil War. Except obviously John, even though he's Captain America, is more of the Iron Man in this scenario. And despite the fact that they're obviously setting up Sam to be Captain America at the end of this, I admire the fact that they show him being the weaker fighter of the three. I mean, John just demolishes Sam. He's got super strength. Bucky does better because he has his own serum and he has the vibranium arm. But Falcon keeps getting knocked around, and Bucky's arm actually malfunctions after John throws him into a steel beam. And I kind of wonder if it malfunctions due to what Io did in the last episode. Then they kind of set up the rest of the episode when John rips Falcon's wings off and is about to seemingly kill Sam when Bucky gets back up to stop him. Bucky and Sam are able to rally, and they team up to basically, one, break John's left arm, take the shield, and then using the shield, they're able to knock him out. So now Falcon has the shield again, but he no longer has his wings. Now, there are a few things in this episode I'm just going to kind of gloss over a little bit instead of going in depth just for the sake of time, but also because these are events that have already been happening and are basically expected to happen. One of those things is the GRC. They've basically upped their game and are detaining any known associates of the Flag Smashers. This causes Karli to say enough is enough, time to enact like the big push, the big plan, whatever that is, and we'll touch on that again in this video. After the murder of the Flag Smasher fiasco, John Walker shows up to a government tribunal with his broken arm, paying off that leaked set photo from way back. But they basically tell him, "Hey, you're done being Captain America, give us back the shield." But it's not just the shield to take away. They give him an other than honorable discharge and take away his rank and military benefits, which sucks. And they said the only reason he wasn't court-martialed was because of his previous record. He does try to fight it. He even gives them a few knife hands, but he mostly just comes off as angry, and they tell him this isn't a negotiation, and he just walks out. Then comes the cameo. Now, from before the show even started, there were quote-unquote leaks and rumors that Wolverine or Omega Red or somebody like that was going to show up. And when the showrunner announced that there was going to be a big cameo in episode 5, the rumors were only bolstered. But it wasn't Wolverine, it wasn't Omega Red, it wasn't even someone with superpowers. It was Contessa Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine. Now, I wouldn't be disappointed if you guys didn't know who that was. She's kind of an obscure character. She is big in a way, but more integral to the background or underground elements of the Marvel Universe. In Marvel Comics, she was at one point a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. and an on-again, off-again lover of Nick Fury, before eventually going to Hydra and becoming one of the iterations of Madam Hydra. Now, I was disappointed by the cameo at first, but then I thought, you know what? This character could lead to a lot of things in the MCU. And unlike WandaVision, the big cameo wasn't just a stupid teased alternate version of one of the main characters. Also, I think Val, as she said she wants to be called, is going to end up leading the Thunderbolts, basically taking the role of Nick Fury when he formed the Avengers, but rounding up villains to fight for her instead. And she basically leaves, having given John Walker a card, and says she'll be in touch, although the card is blank, so I don't know what he's supposed to do with that. The cameo also wasn't that bad because, obviously, with all the built-up theories over WandaVision and how that turned out, it helped me to have basically low expectations for this show. So I'm actually kind of glad that this show came after WandaVision instead of the other way around. Next, we see Bucky meet Zemo and Sokovia at the Sokovian Memorial. Bucky seems like he's going to kill Zemo, but then the Dora Milaje show up, and interestingly enough, they say they're going to take him to the Raft, which is that prison that we saw in Civil War. And honestly, I thought they were taking him to Wakanda, where they would torture or execute him or something, but whatever. Before they leave though, Bucky says he has another favor to ask, and while it's easy to guess what it is later on in the episode, we won't officially see it until the finale episode. While Bucky is meeting with Zemo, Sam goes to see Isaiah Bradley again, bringing the shield with him to try once again to kind of get an understanding of the role of Captain America, specifically a black Captain America. And here is where we get into some of the racial stuff again that we've seen in previous episodes. Now, my problem with how they address the racial stuff is that it's obviously the beliefs of the showrunner slash writers slash directors and not the characters themselves. For instance, the way Isaiah Bradley talks about the legacy of Captain America doesn't make sense if you've read the comics that he appears in. They basically changed the time he spent in prison, the reason he was put in prison, and the overall attitude that he has toward the shield. And they did that so that they could really lean into the grievances of being a black man in America and all that. Though it was cool how his character mentioned the Tuskegee experiment, which was a real thing, you should look it up. Though the real life version has to do with syphilis and not super soldiers, unfortunately. One of my biggest problems with the narrative of the show is how they constantly conflate Steve Rogers and his legacy with the American government. Again, having read many Captain America comics, I know that Steve Rogers doesn't pledge loyalty to the American government. He doesn't fight for a particular political party. He doesn't even fight only for America or Americans. He fights for the American dream. He doesn't fight for what the country is, but the ideals of what it could be. I think the creators of the show are doing injustice to all these characters, not just Steve Rogers. They're doing it because, as usual, these creators don't care about portraying these characters accurately or telling good stories. What's important is that we, the audience, know their social and political views. And so they use these characters that we care about as a mouthpiece because they think, well, if you love these characters, you love seeing them fight and stuff, and we have the characters say what we believe, maybe you'll agree with us. In reality, it just makes for some poorly written entertainment, in which otherwise could be a great show. And I know what the response to that statement would be, because I've seen it from other creators and random people on social media. It makes people feel super woke to say, oh, people are just complaining because they're uncomfortable hearing about these issues. It's not that. We see so much negative talk about race relations from the news and on social media on a daily basis that it's likely people are more numb to it than anything. What I don't like is getting socio-political lectures while watching a superhero show. And to those who have the BS argument of comics have always been political, there are a number of Stan Lee interviews where he clearly states how he handled addressing social issues in comics. The heavy-handed, one-sided political lectures in comics today are a very recent phenomenon. Sorry for the rant. I just get bothered by all the woke BS in comics and entertainment. It's one of the reasons I started this channel, but let's get back to this review. Again, I'm going to just lightly touch on some stuff like how they spend kind of a decent chunk of the episode with Sam and Bucky trying to fix the Wilson family's fishing boat. It's at this time that Bucky shows up with a box from the Wakandans. I'm guessing new Falcon wings, but we don't get to see them in this episode. Again, we'll see them in the finale. We also see John Walker visiting Lamar Hoskins' parents and trying to console them after their son's death. He does lie to them about having killed the person who actually killed their son. I don't know if it's because John actually believes that that was the guy who killed him, or if he's lying to comfort Lamar's parents and cover for his own actions. Sharon Carter returns for a very short time again. A lot of people have predicted that she's actually the power broker, and this episode definitely doesn't do anything to quell that theory, as she is setting up Batroc for some mission that she's going to pay him for. We do get a cool training montage with Sam training with the shield alongside Bucky, but it begins with this really cringy moment where Bucky says, Steve and I didn't realize what it would be like handing the shield to a black man, and then he says, I'm sorry, while handing Sam the shield, and Sam says, thank you. And it's just really weird. It reminds me of that girl power moment from Avengers Endgame, except in this case they made Bucky, one of the greatest assassins in the Marvel Universe, into basically the host of white guilt. But don't worry, I'm not going to go into another rant about that. It turns out that Batroc's mission was to bring a box of what seems like some kind of weaponry to Karli and the Flag Smashers. Though he says he isn't going to be part of their movement really, he's just there to kill the Falcon. The show ends on the GRC basically ready to put forth some legislation to hopefully end all the issues with the refugees when the alarms in the building go off. But we have to wait until the finale to find out what the Flag Smashers are actually there to do. Now there is a post-credit scene, and it's John Walker hammering out and spray painting his own Captain America shield. Where his metalworking skill came from, I don't know. But honestly, I don't see how his super strength paired with a non-vibranium shield is going to be very helpful in whatever he's trying to do. But leave your comments below. How effective do you think John Walker is going to be in the next episode? Do you think Contessa Valentina is going to become an evil Nick Fury? And do you think Karli is going to be killed at the end of the series, ending the Flag Smasher movement forever? We only have one episode to go, and despite my complaints about this episode, I am looking forward to the finale. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.